Welcome in, everybody, to another deep dive. Today, we're looking at HCL Tech. We're going to be cracking open their Q3 FY25 earnings call transcript. And, just a couple little nuggets from their investor relations website.
Fun stuff.
Yeah, see what we can learn. And, what's interesting is HCL Tech, a global IT services giant, they just hit a pretty big milestone.
Yeah.
20 years.
20 years.
As a publicly traded company.
It's amazing.
That is a long time.
Yeah.
And they've seen incredible growth over that time. But we're here to kind of find out, what's the current state of play? Where are they shining? What challenges are they facing? And ultimately, what does this all mean for you and me?
Exactly.
As we watch the tech world evolve.
Well, and it's so interesting to look at a company like HCL Tech that started in '99 with a really small team and has now grown over 220,000 employees globally.
Wow.
And a revenue of $13.77 billion in just the last 12 months.
That's mind-blowing.
It's mind-blowing. It really is.
You don't see that kind of growth every day, and it hasn't gone unnoticed, right?
No, it hasn't.
They actually delivered the highest total shareholder return, or TSR, among all of the big India-headquartered IT companies over the past decade.
Over the past decade. That's a really good run for them.
It really is. So that suggests that they're making good decisions and delivering value in the long term.
Long term, that's right, for sure.
But let's zoom in on their most recent performance. This Q3 report,
Okay.
I think, kind of paints a mixed picture.
Okay, a little bit of a roller coaster ride, maybe?
Yeah, it does feel like a little bit of a roller coaster. So they saw solid revenue growth, 3.8% compared to last quarter, 4.1% compared to a year ago.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
Not bad.
Considering the overall economic uncertainty.
Yeah, and I think given the environment they're operating in,
Yeah.
those are really strong numbers.
For sure.
Yeah.
But when you break down the revenue streams, it's not all smooth sailing.
No, not completely. So while services, which, their services segment includes things like IT and business services, engineering, R&D, showed decent growth, their software revenue actually declined. So year on year.
And that's the part that really makes me go, especially because it comes after 5 quarters.
That's right.
Of solid year-on-year growth in software.
Yes.
So do you think this is a temporary blip?
Okay.
Or is it a sign of something bigger happening in the software market?
Well, it's something to watch, for sure. I think we'll see. I think it could be a sign that companies are, kind of holding back a little bit on big software purchases, given the uncertainty in the market.
Tightening their belts.
Tightening their belts, exactly. But, it's worth noting that it did improve quite a bit compared to the last quarter, so it's not all, doom and gloom.
Okay, so we'll see what happens in the next quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of a wait-and-see approach.
That's right.
So mixed bag on the revenue front. But what about their performance across different industries? Were there any bright spots?
Yeah, absolutely. So they saw really impressive wins in 2 of their core verticals, technology and financial services.
Okay.
And these have been strong sectors for them.
Traditionally,
yes, and looks like they're continuing to do well.
And they called out really strong growth in retail and consumer packaged goods, or CPG, 13.7% jump. Compared to last quarter.
13.7%.
That's pretty huge.
Yeah, that's huge. And that's quarter on quarter, right?
Yes.
So that's significant. But I would caution against reading too much into that.
Okay.
Because it seems like a large project finished up in this quarter.
Okay.
And it looks like it's kind of artificially inflating the growth figure.
Got it.
And similarly, their bump in telecom revenue was fueled, at least in part, by the acquisition of HPE CTG assets.
Okay, so we got to look beyond the headlines.
Beyond the headlines, always look at the context.
And consider the context. So what else should we be paying attention to in terms of their growth drivers and their challenges?
Yeah, well, one of the interesting trends that they highlighted is that while they're seeing a lot of smaller deals closing quickly, those larger, more complex deals are taking much longer to finalize.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And this could indicate that companies are still investing in technology, but they're just being a lot more cautious with those bigger decisions.
Yeah, you dip your toes in the water first.
Yeah, dip your toes in the water. Right before you cannonball.
Right before you jump in the deep end.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So it sounds like, companies are kind of in this wait-and-see mode.
Yeah.
But HCL Tech, even amidst this uncertainty, seems to be making some strategic moves.
Yes.
Especially in those exciting new areas of technology.
That's right.
That everyone's talking about.
The areas that are really changing the world as we speak.
That's right.
Cloud computing.
Yes.
And generative AI.
Yeah.
And especially the telecom sector.
Okay.
And, going back to that HPE CTG acquisition we talked about,
Right.
that gives them a major boost in terms of capabilities and their relationships
Right.
with key players in the telecom industry.
So they're not just talking the talk, they're walking the walk.
That's right. It seems like they're positioning themselves to be a leader in what they call a software-defined services future, or SaaS future.
The SaaS future.
Can you break down what SaaS is
Sure.
and why that's so important for them?
Well, SaaS stands for Software as a Service.
Okay.
And it's basically a way of delivering software over the internet where users subscribe to the software
Okay.
rather than buying it outright and installing it on their own computers.
Okay, got it.
And this model has become increasingly popular in recent years, and HCL Tech is making sure they're right at the forefront of this trend.
Yeah, they're claiming to be the only Indian service provider that is fully geared up
That's right.
for this SaaS-driven future.
A bold statement.
It is, but could be a significant advantage,
Huge advantage,
if it's true.
if it's true.
And speaking of big trends, we can't ignore the elephant in the room, or maybe we should say the AI in the room.
The AI elephant in the room.
Generative AI.
Yes.
It's generating a lot of buzz,
A lot of buzz.
and HCL Tech wants to be right at the forefront.
At the forefront they are.
Yeah, they're not just talking about it, they're actively implementing it. They've developed their own AI Force platform
Very cool.
and are creating targeted solutions for a variety of industries, including finance and manufacturing.
Right.
But here's what's interesting to me. The cost of using AI models
Yeah.
has dropped dramatically,
Dramatically.
making it much more accessible to businesses of all sizes.
That's right.
So they're essentially capitalizing on this AI accessibility to create new possibilities for their clients and for themselves.
For themselves,
And
exactly.
turning what used to be this cutting-edge, expensive technology
Right.
into something much more practical and affordable.
Right. And that's the key right there.
Yeah.
It's not just about having AI. It's about making it work for you and for your clients. And this is playing out across industries.
Hold on. It seems like this AI conversation is about to get even more interesting. We'll be right back to explore how AI is impacting customer service, financial services, and more.
From unexpected places like contact centers, they talked about working with a global tech company to actually transform their contact centers using generative AI and cloud-based solutions.
So AI-powered customer service.
That's right.
Wow. You know,
Can you imagine calling a company and having a super smart AI
yeah.
answer all your questions?
And it's not just about answering questions. It's about providing a more efficient and personalized experience.
Oh, okay.
You know, AI can analyze a customer's data to provide tailored responses and maybe even anticipate their needs
Oh, wow.
before they even ask.
So it frees up the human agents to deal with more complex issues.
Exactly.
So it's a win-win
A win-win
for both the customer and the company.
for everyone.
Okay, so we've talked about AI kind of shaking things up in telecom customer service. Where else are we seeing this impact?
Well, financial services is another area where AI is really making waves.
Okay.
And HCL Tech highlighted the shift from small-scale kind of proof-of-concept projects.
Yeah, to full-fledged enterprise-wide implementation. So you know it's clear that AI is moving beyond that experimental phase.
Right.
And proving its value.
So what does that look like in practice?
Yeah.
How are financial institutions actually using AI?
Well, you can think of it as AI taking over some of the heavy lifting. It can automate processes, analyze massive amounts of data
Okay.
for risk assessment, enhance fraud detection, even provide personalized financial advice.
Wow.
You know, so it's a game changer
Yeah.
for efficiency and security.
It sounds like AI is creating both opportunities and challenges for companies like HCL Tech.
Oh, absolutely.
They need to be nimble
That's right.
and stay ahead of the curve to stay competitive.
And that's why they're putting so much emphasis on R&D, forming strategic partnerships, and really building out their AI expertise.
Right.
They even mention a collaboration with SAP, specifically in the area of S/4HANA migration.
I'm not familiar with that. Can you explain what that is and why it matters?
It's all about modernization. S/4HANA is SAP's latest business suite.
Okay.
And it's designed to help companies take advantage of the latest cloud technologies.
Right.
But migrating to this platform,
Yeah.
it can be quite complex.
Right.
And HCL is really positioning themselves as a trusted guide to help companies navigate that journey.
And they're so serious about this partnership
Yes.
that they even opened an innovation lab specifically for SAP Business AI in Germany.
Very cool.
So it's a strategic move that allows them to leverage SAP's expertise and technology while offering their own global reach and implementation capabilities.
Exactly.
It's a win-win.
It is a win-win.
But it's not just about staying ahead of the tech curve. It's also about making sure that these advancements benefit people in their everyday lives.
That's such an important point.
It is.
You know, we can get caught up in all the technical details, but at the end of the day, it's about how this technology impacts people.
Absolutely.
Right.
And think about it. AI is going to touch almost every aspect of our lives, from the way we work to the way we interact with businesses and even how we manage our finances.
Absolutely.
So understanding these trends isn't just for, techies or investors.
Yeah.
It's for everyone.
Everyone. It's about being informed and prepared for the future.
Exactly.
So now let's shift gears a bit and talk about HCL Tech's outlook for the rest of 2025 and beyond.
Right now.
And they've expressed, cautious optimism,
Okay.
but acknowledge that there are potential global shifts that could impact their business.
Right. You're talking about their revised guidance.
Their revised guidance.
Where they actually lowered their revenue growth expectations?
Yes.
What were the factors driving that?
Well, there were a few things at play. The delays in those larger deals we talked about earlier definitely had an impact.
Yeah.
Plus, there were some specific events like a major transformation project coming to an end that affected their Q4 outlook.
But it wasn't all doom and gloom.
No, not at all.
I seem to recall there were some positive signs as well.
Yeah, one encouraging sign was that discretionary spending is actually picking up in most sectors.
So that suggests the companies are feeling a bit more confident.
A bit more confident.
And are willing to invest in those growth initiatives.
Exactly.
Okay, that does sound promising.
It is promising.
However, there's still a big question mark looming over the future.
Yeah.
Will the momentum in smaller deals actually translate to those bigger contracts as the year progresses? Or will this economic uncertainty keep those big decisions
on hold? On hold.
That is the million-dollar question.
It is.
And the answer will have huge implications, not just for HCL Tech, but for the entire technology sector.
Yeah.
But here's what's intriguing.
Okay.
Even though those larger deals are taking longer to close, HCL Tech reported a significant increase in their annual contract value, or ACV.
Okay, so even though they're closing fewer big deals, the overall value of the contracts they are signing is actually higher.
That's right.
That's interesting. Can you unpack that a bit? It seems counterintuitive. It does a little bit, but it speaks to a shift in how businesses are approaching their technology investments.
Okay.
Instead of locking themselves into massive multi-year contracts, they're opting for shorter-term, more agile agreements.
Okay.
This allows them to adapt more quickly to changing market conditions.
So it's all about flexibility and being able to pivot quickly.
Exactly.
Needed. Makes sense in this uncertain economic climate.
Does.
But this shift also presents a challenge for companies like HCL Tech, who have traditionally relied on those big, predictable revenue streams.
Right.
So they need to adapt their sales strategies and find ways to build long-term relationships with clients, even within these shorter contract cycles.
It's like the rules of the game are changing.
It is.
And everyone's scrambling to figure out the new playbook.
That's a great way to put it.
And it's not just HCL Tech. This is playing out across the entire technology landscape.
Absolutely.
It's a very dynamic environment.
And this brings us to another important aspect of HCL Tech's performance. Their commitment to sustainability.
Yes. ESG.
ESG.
Environmental, social, and governance.
Yeah. It's not just a buzzword anymore.
No, it's not.
It's a core business imperative. And HCL Tech seems to be taking it very seriously.
Very seriously. And they highlighted their gold status from EcoVadis, a leading sustainability ratings provider.
Okay.
So this recognition really shows that they're making a concerted effort to reduce their environmental impact, promote ethical business practices, and create a positive social impact.
And they mentioned a number of internal initiatives as well, like their Project Ascend, which is focused on driving efficiency and sustainability throughout their operations.
And here's a cool detail.
Okay.
They're even using generative AI to support these sustainability initiatives.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So they're talking about how they're deploying AI solutions internally to help them track their progress and identify areas for improvement.
Exactly.
It's a great example of how technology can be such a powerful tool for driving positive change.
It really is.
And it shows how sustainability and innovation can really go hand in hand.
They can.
It's not just about doing the right thing. It's about finding smarter, more efficient ways to operate.
Exactly.
And this can lead to cost savings, increased efficiency, a stronger brand reputation.
Absolutely.
It's a win-win for everyone.
For everyone.
And it's not just about the bottom line. It's about creating a better future for all stakeholders, employees, customers, investors, and the planet itself.
The planet itself.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive. We've seen how HCL Tech is navigating complex and evolving landscape. They're facing challenges head-on, but they're also seizing opportunities.
Yes.
Particularly in the areas of AI and sustainability.
That's right. And, they're celebrating a major milestone, 20 years as a publicly listed company. But they're not resting on their laurels. They're really embracing change, investing in innovation, and positioning themselves for a future that's both exciting and uncertain.
And for you, our listener, we hope this deep dive has given you some valuable insights into the forces shaping the tech sector and the business world as a whole.
We encourage you to continue exploring these topics, keep asking questions, stay curious, and stay informed.
Wow. It is amazing to see how much ground we've covered from, financial performance to AI's impact and HCL Tech's commitment to sustainability. It really paints a picture, I think, of where they stand today.
And where they might be headed in the future. Remember, even with 20 years under their belt, they're not standing still. They are actively adapting to this ever-changing tech landscape.
And one of the things that really stood out to me is how they're not just reacting to these changes, they're really trying to anticipate them. Like their focus on AI and their early adoption of those software-defined services or SaaS solutions.
Exactly. I think that forward-thinking approach is probably what's helped them achieve that really impressive shareholder return over the last decade.
Yeah.
Shows they're not just focused on short-term gains, they're thinking about that long game.
And that long game includes navigating those choppy waters we talked about earlier with the economic uncertainty and the shift towards smaller, more agile contracts.
Right.
So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out for them.
Will those smaller deals eventually pave the way for larger contracts as confidence in the market returns?
Yeah.
Or will this become the new normal, requiring a different approach to building long-term value?
These are questions that not just HCL Tech, but many companies in the tech sector are grappling with.
Absolutely.
It makes you realize that business isn't just about numbers on a spreadsheet.
No.
There's this whole human element to it.
There is.
This constant need to adapt and evolve.
It is a human endeavor.
It is.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into HCL Tech, I'm left with a sense of cautious optimism. We've got a strong track record.
They do.
They're making smart moves, but they're also facing some real challenges. It'll be fascinating to see what the next 20 years hold for them.
And for all of us.
Yes.
Because the decisions they make, the technologies they develop, the ways they adapt, they will impact not just their business, but the way we live, work, and interact with the world around us.
So this deep dive has given you a glimpse into that world, a starting point for your own exploration. Don't stop here.
That's right.
Keep digging.
Keep learning.
Keep learning.
And keep asking questions.
Because as we've seen today, the world of technology is constantly evolving. And with it, the future is always in flux. And who knows, maybe you'll be the one shaping it next.